Look at this iPad. From the back of the iPad, we can see the model is a 1980. Judging by its exterior, the iPad hasn't suffered any major drops or impact, since it won't power on. Let's plug in a charger and check. After plugging in the charger, it does draw current, but the charging current is very small. The screen also shows the charging icon after charging for a few minutes. We see the Apple logo light up. However, it never makes it to the home screen. We waited 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. And it still couldn't get to the home screen. Also, there was no reboot loop. It just kept showing the Apple logo. According to the user, even the official after-sales service tried reinstalling the system, but it still wouldn't connect to a computer. From our tests, it really can't connect. You'll never guess the cause of this issue. This is also a good opportunity to share how to deal with water damage in an iPad or phone charging port. Of course, I hope you'll never need it, but if it does happen, this video can help you. Please like and save it. After heating the iPad, I open up the screen. First, I protect the front Face ID assembly. There's also a flex cable here, so we have to remove that cable first. Flipping up the screen, the same old smell, the same old fingerprints. There's no way around it. There are always fingerprints on the back of an iPad screen. I remove this metal shield, unscrew the battery's retaining screws, separate the positive and negative ends of the battery, then disconnect the 4 display and touch flex cables one by one. Take off the screen. Let's take a look. Because the iPad screen is quite large, the display and touch functions are split into 2 groups. Next, checking the inside of the case. The motherboard is in the middle. There are 4 stereo speakers, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. The front camera and Face ID components are at the top. These 2 black strips in the middle are the battery shielding on top of the motherboard. There are several screws holding it down. I remove these screws. Now some of you might be wondering, if it won't connect to the computer, shouldn't we test by replacing the charging port first? Let me keep you guessing a bit. Keep watching. There's a surprise coming. Carefully, I take off the shielding. We can see the CPU is an A12X. The black parts next to it are 2 memory chips. Here is the main power chip. The heat dissipating sticker on top is already damaged. Next to it is the hard drive. The hard drive has 2 solder points. Tearing off this sticker reveals the Type-C charging management chip. All these components next to it control charging. I take out the multimeter and do a quick measurement of the circuit around this Type-C management chip. After testing, I find nothing unusual, so I apply power directly to the motherboard to test boot current. Pressing the power button, I see the current jumps to about 130 milliamperes. Obviously, there's a short or leak somewhere. I cover the charging area in rosin smoke, then press the power button again. You'll notice this chip starts to melt very slightly. Next, I measure the lines and resistance on the connector leading to this chip. One line clearly shows an abnormal reading. For iPad Pro models, especially those with a Type-C charging port, many cases of no charging, device won't power on when charging, or briefly shows charging then shuts down. 90% are due to this chip getting fried. But why does this chip blow out? I remove the damaged chip, flatten and clean the pads, prepare a new chip. Remember I mentioned a surprise earlier? Keep watching as I replace this chip. Once I position the chip correctly, I heat it. When I can gently press it and feel the elasticity, that means it's soldered well. Important note, press lightly. Some people watch videos quietly but secretly like, comment, share, repost, and follow. Those people are so adorable. After soldering, I clean off the flux, peel off all protective stickers on both sides, and encapsulate the chip in black epoxy, then cure it. I thoroughly clean the motherboard. After removing the old heat dissipating sticker on the main power section, I replace it with a new one. I also remove the old adhesive on the back of the shielding and apply new tape. After cleaning, I put the shielding back and use a roller to make sure it's well adhered underneath. Then I reinstall the few screws to secure it. Now for the big reveal I was hinting at. I remove the charging port. Why remove it at this stage instead of replacing it first? At first glance, it doesn't look faulty. Under the microscope, looking carefully at the pins on the back, it's obvious there's been water ingress and corrosion. The 5V power pin is right next to a 1.8V or ground pin, and water damage caused them to short out. That's how the chip got blown. For iPad Pro models with a Type-C charging port, most issues begin with corrosion or damage in the charging port. If you ignore it, it can lead to failure to power on or complete inability to charge. To put it simply, it starts with that charging port. When 2 pins short out or connect improperly but you keep using it, the chip will eventually fry. This is a common problem for this iPad model. If you see this video, remember that if you have a similar issue, fix it promptly. If our phone or iPad detects liquid in the port, do not keep charging it or turning it on. Power it off immediately. Let it cool, and wait for the moisture inside the port to dry before using it again. If there's a lot of liquid, it's best to bring it in for repair. After removing leftover adhesive from the casing, I clean the screen's back adhesive and apply a new layer. If this video helps you, I hope you can send me a TikTok gift, or at least like or save it. Thank you, everyone. After finishing, I reinstall the screen, plug in the 4 flex cables for display and touch. Lastly, I screw the battery back in place. Some people watch videos quietly but secretly like, comment, share, repost, and follow. Those people are so adorable. Then I peel off all the adhesive film on the back of the screen. Reconnect the sensor flex cable on the top side of the screen, remove all the protective stickers, close the screen, and then put it under pressure. After finishing that, I plug in the charger. Okay, now the iPad successfully enters the home screen. No more endless Apple logo. Once it's turned on, I test all functions, Wi-Fi, sound, camera, compass, and so on. Some people watch videos quietly but secretly like, comment, share, repost, and follow. Those people are so adorable. All functions test out normal. Checking the About section, it's a 64GB iPad Pro. After a little while, the battery has charged and gone up by 1 bar, which means charging is back to normal. At this point, I power off the iPad, clean it up, and pack it for shipping back to the user. My gratitude to every fan for your support. If you like my content, please double tap on the screen. If you haven't followed me yet, please do.